Hello, 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 everybody. Bonnie here, and I'm just going to let everybody know that I am live for our Intuitive Eating Wisdom Wednesday live stream. Hold on just 1 second. Why can't I do that? I want to let everybody know. I don't know. That is just not working right now. So, okay. Well, hopefully people are going to see me. Hopefully you're getting a notification. Let me try that one more time. It is not working. See, sometimes these things don't work. Sometimes Facebook drives me a little crazy. Yeah, so that's not working. Okay, doesn't matter. Hopefully you're going to get the notification. If not, you're going to watch this on replay. So it is Wednesday, and that means that I am dropping some Intuitive Eating Wisdom Wednesday here for you. Every Wednesday, I drop in here live to do a little bit of training around intuitive eating. First and foremost, number one, I just want to welcome all our new members. I am thrilled beyond that so many wonderful women are joining us in this community. You know that diets don't work. You know that you've struggled with on and off diets, losing and gaining, and it has harmed your physical health, your mental health, and it is now time to embrace a new relationship with food. And that is why you are here. You've joined us in this community, so please welcome. There should be a welcome post with your name tagged. If it is, then by all means come and share. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us what brought you to this community, and tell us what you would like to achieve. What are your goals? Second, if you are new to this community, check your DMs, your direct messages, because I will have given you a nice little personal welcome message. I just want to get to know everybody in the community if possible. If we are not friends on Facebook, then it's very possible you don't even know that I sent you a DM. And so what you need to do is check your other message folder or message request folder. So there's like 3 little dots next to the DMs. If you click it, you'll see message requests, and then my message might be in there. So if you look for it, you respond to me, and then we'll be able to message back and forth with each other. And finally, friend me on Facebook. I do a lot of shares over on my Facebook profile. And again, Facebook is glitching a little for me in the last week or two. It doesn't allow me to friend request you. So if you friend request me, then we'll be friends and you'll see all the shares that I have. And hopefully you'll get some, wisdom out of that as well. It'll inspire you. So we had an amazing training last Thursday night, how to trust yourself with food in the next 6 months. I appreciate everybody who participated, who requested the replay. If you did watch the replay or you were with me live, I would love it if you shared your takeaway. What was your golden nugget? I'm going to start a thread. I want to share. When we share with each other, the learning happens, okay? So I shared a ton of material. If you missed it, don't worry. I'll be doing some other trainings coming up. You just have to kind of pop into this group every day to see what I have coming up for you. Today's topic is all about intermittent fasting. Before I dive into why intermittent fasting is still a diet, I want to just give you a little bit of an overview around intuitive eating, because we have so many new wonderful members in this community. And from what I'm understanding, a lot of people aren't really familiar with what intuitive eating is. And so, in the simplest terms, intuitive eating is eating based on your physiological need to eat, right? Based on your signals of hunger and fullness, not based on situations and not based on emotions that you're feeling. And so we're all born intuitive eaters, but once we start dabbling with diets, we move away from being an intuitive eater, because we're now allowing the diets and the rules to dictate and to guide our eating. And so we disconnect from what we were born with. The process of intuitive eating allows you to connect back to it. And so with that said, why do I still consider intermittent fasting still a diet? Because the truth is, the best time for you to eat is when your body says it's hungry, and it's not based on a window of time. Now, we have seen intermittent fasting being praised online. I know you have. Everybody has. It has grown in popularity, and the promotion through influencers is really, honestly, like it's like a hack. People are saying it's like, fast and easing weight loss, They're often using this concept of intermittent fasting for that. You're, purposely limiting your food consumption to certain hours of the day, then you're fasting until the next available eating window, right? And so these are the regimens. Now, intermittent fasting regimens definitely can vary. There are multiple options, but some of the most popular ones are one, having longer fasting periods of time. So you're fasting for 16 hours and you're eating during an 8-hour window. Another would be a shorter fasting period where you fast for 14 hours and you're eating during a 10-hour window. Then you have what they call the 5 to 2 diet, where you're eating normally for 5 days of the week, whatever quote unquote normally really means. And then for 2 days, you're cutting down to a very, very low caloric intake. And then you have the eat, stop, eat diet, as they call it, where, eat normally, quote unquote, 5 days and fast for a full 24 hours for 2 days of the week. At the end of the day, this is all diets, and diets do not work. Even though there's been an increase in interest in intuitive eating, it's against, in intermittent fasting, which has stemmed from, influences online, sharing how it's helped them with weight loss, achieving their weight loss goals, hormone regulation, improving gut health. There really needs to be more long-term research and studies done to see if this in fact yields benefits. The human trials that have been done are only they're very short term. What has been proven time and time again is that when people embark on this intermittent fasting, it leads to disordered eating habits in both men and women, and a disregard for your biological hunger. Okay? And so I think it's very important to recognize that. Very important to recognize that. So even if intermittent fasting doesn't restrict any particular foods or food groups, you might say, so why is it still considered a diet, Bonnie? Like, why is that so problematic? Well, deciding on the right time to eat is technically creating a food rule. And you know what we do when we're recovering from dieting and embracing intuitive eating is we really get rid of our food rules. So while the strict rules aren't necessarily based on which foods you can have, they're based on when you can have them and when you can eat. And so, creating rules around food and implementing what is allowed and what is not allowed really creates this hyperfixation around food. And then you're kind of finding yourself worried about like what and when you're going to eat your next meal, right? So like tomorrow for lunch, I'm going to have a salad no later than noon, or after 7, I'm going to stop eating for the day so you can stay within the windows, right? So pushing off a meal when you feel hungry in order to be able to eat it during your food window is in fact a restriction. And that restriction can lead to disordered eating patterns because there's less time in the day to consume your food, right? You have a shorter window of time. Your body may actually experience more restriction than it can handle. And excessively restricting your body from food when it calls for food is going to lead to binge eating, followed perhaps by even purging behavior or intense exercise. I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. Restriction is the number one predictor for binge eating, okay? So you might say, and then what about this piece, right? The mental piece. I messed up my intermittent fasting window. Now I have to work extra hard tomorrow. And you start bashing on yourself, right? And then those feelings of shame and guilt are there. So remember, this is just another diet. Intermittent fasting can cause both physical and mental issues. So the mental impacts of intermittent fasting, well, fasting can be viewed as a compulsive behavior, or those who participate are doing so due to body dysmorphia, pressure from society to look a certain way. To some, fasting throughout the day may be used to satisfy unpleasant thoughts like self-harming behaviors. So it can become very, very destructive. Decreased self-esteem when you kind of, quote unquote, give in to your cravings after this. Eating in only a certain window is not sustainable for you, right? And then constantly obsessing over when is my next meal. And you're always thinking about food. I'm hungry, but I can't eat now until X time. And then feeling upset if you're missing out on social situations because it doesn't fit into your eating window. And then if you give in, well, I just messed up. I couldn't follow my intermittent fasting. So there's so much damage to your mental health. As far as physical impacts of intermittent fasting, ketosis. If the body, what happens is the body begins to rely on fat for fuel due to an inadequate intake of nutrients and carbs, which really can cause longer term damage. So ketosis is not a state that we want to be in. It can cause fatigue, headaches, muscle cramping, GI issues. Ketones building up in our organs are toxic. It can also cause, through the physical impacts of intermittent fasting, it can cause a decreased metabolic rate, which actually leads to weight regain in the long run. Because again, the diet is not sustainable for a longer period of time. It impacts your immune function, your daily intake over energy, mood swings, and regular sleeping patterns. At the end of the day, when you force yourself to eat within a certain window of time, you're not honoring your hunger signals should you be hungry at a different time outside that window. You're always thinking about when am I going to be able to eat? What am I going to eat? And in that window of time, you will likely bypass comfortable biological fullness because I got to eat now because I won't be able to eat for so many hours after until the next eating opportunity or eating window. And so intermittent fasting is a diet. And escaping diet culture is what is going to keep your body and your mind healthy. Okay? So I think this is so important. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Listening to your body. You have the wisdom that lies within. Over the years, you might have dabbled in one diet 50 times or 50 separate diets. Doesn't matter. Either way, whenever you embarked on rules around what to eat, when to eat, how much to eat, that are not coming from messages of your body, but those rules are external, you're disconnecting from what you were born with, the inner wisdom to guide your eating decisions. You've given away your food autonomy, and therefore you've lost that trust in yourself to make those decisions for yourself. But guess what? The good news is that you can regain that trust, just like I shared on the training the other night. You can absolutely learn to eat intuitively again, and you're here to do just that. Please share any thoughts, comments below this video. Intuitive Eating Wisdom Wednesday happens every week on Wednesday. Please go ahead and hashtag replay, post some comments, and I will come right back to answer those thoughts, those questions. I appreciate you being here. Again, welcome to our new members. Check your direct messages because I will have sent you a message welcoming you into the community. I like to try to get to know as many of you as possible. And that's it for me. I look forward to reading your comments, and I will see you again real soon. Have a great rest of your day.